What's up, you guys? It's Graham here, and I want to present to you the mother of all bubbles, because we've been talking nonstop about stock market valuations. Things make no sense, but this, on the other hand, is on a different level. And what's crazy is that we all use this product pretty much every single day, and I'm talking about ChatGPT and OpenAI. For those unaware, they've been teasing IPOing, coming out at valuations that are just unfathomable, which brings me to this video here, which argues that it's a bigger bubble than the Dotcom bust. So with that said, I want to go through the research and share with you exactly what's going on as soon as you hit the like button and subscribe. It's all I ask, and as a thank you for doing that, here's a picture of a pencil. So thanks so much, and also big thank you to GoDaddy for sponsoring this video, but more on that later.
We have no current plans to make revenue. We have no idea how we may one day generate revenue. We have made a soft promise to investors that once we've built this sort of generally intelligent system, basically, we will ask it to figure out a way to generate an investment return for you.
You know what's funny? People are laughing, but when the robots take over, and all of a sudden civilization is just crushed because every single job is taken over by an AI, he's going to be the one that's laughing. And I actually have a feeling at some point, AI is going to get so proficient that it will be able to do a lot of the ideas, a lot of the innovation that just most of us couldn't think of. So I think at the end of the day, sounds dumb, I believe he's going to be right.
Back in June, OpenAI confidentially filed to become a public company. This came a week after Anthropic's same announcement. And while the company claimed they were keeping their options open on the timeline, other sources reported Sam Altman was pushing for as early as September. That was until an independent reporter, Ed Zitron, got his hands on OpenAI's financials, which is one of those things where we knew it was bad, we just didn't know how bad.
The thing is, they're really just going for growth at this point, and then it's going to be a race to see who IPOs first at the highest price possible, because at the end of the day, it really just comes down to money. That's all it is. They want as much money as possible. That's it. There's really no more strategy than at what point can we get the most hype before all of this just dies down. And really, it's probably going to be this year, because next year's a bit uncertain. Next year might be a lot better, a lot bigger. We don't know that. But this year's pretty good. It's pretty certain. The SpaceX IPO was record-breaking, and we could probably do similar numbers with something like this, because ChatGPT, just everyone's using it. Like, my mom is even using ChatGPT. And when my mom is using ChatGPT, it's like it's mainstream. Like, I remember 2021, she was asking me about Bitcoin, and I'm like, oh, Mom, darn. It's like, okay, the top is in. My mom's asking about Bitcoin now. Now she's using ChatGPT, and I told her, listen, Mom, maybe Gemini's a little better. Maybe Grok is a little better. But she's using ChatGPT. She's talking to the thing. She has conversations with it. It helps her out. And so I'm thinking, yes, this is genuine technology, and they're trying to grow. Their financials don't need to be great right now because they could always monetize later. People said the same thing about Facebook. Oh, you're not going to be able to monetize, blah, blah, blah. But look at Facebook now. They're making a crap ton of money. ChatGPT could just flip a switch and make billions of dollars like that, okay? So it's not rocket science.
Last year, OpenAI burned around $38 billion. Now, much of these costs came from turning the company from a nonprofit into a for-profit, but as Ed Zitron so concisely put it, despite these changes, they've remained profitless. OpenAI was wanting to go public at a $1 trillion valuation, despite spending $21 billion to make just $13 billion in revenue. But maybe the CFO is wrong. Maybe the demand is there and the losses are temporary. So let's check. Who is actually paying for this?
The thing is, though, when it comes down to it, it's all charades. They're going to do a little drama, do a little hype, get people interested, more people paying attention to it, and then bam, they're going to file for an IPO, make tons of, they're going to make trillions. They're going to make trillions of dollars from doing this, and then retail is the one who's going to buy it up, and then it's going to dump.
Only around 5% of ChatGPT users actually pay for a subscription, and notably, more users are switching to Claude or Gemini.
This reminds me that with the economy changing so quickly, having a strong online presence matters more than ever. It's like whether you're building a business or just increasing your personal brand. One of the easiest ways you could do that is just by having a website. And one of the best ways to get started is with our sponsor, GoDaddy. No joke, I've actually been a GoDaddy customer for over 20 years. Like in high school business class, the first ever website that I purchased was through GoDaddy. And they've just made things that much easier with their Aero AI builder. Like with this, instead of spending a fortune developing a website or taking weeks perfecting the ideal design, GoDaddy's AI builder allows you to simply describe what you want, and it automatically turns your idea into a working website, app, or online experience. This means there's no digging through templates. You just explain what you want like you're describing it to a friend, and from there you can have something up and running in minutes instead of waiting weeks, and you could keep refining it through conversation until you're happy. Literally, just ask it to change colors, rewrite copy, add a section, or tinker with it until it feels right. On top of that, when you're ready to publish, hosting, security, and a subdomain are included. Plus, if your website's just outdated, paste in the URL and Aero AI Builder could redesign it with a completely fresh look. So check out GoDaddy's Aero AI Builder down below in the description, or scan the QR code on the screen to learn more and get started today. Again, having a fresh looking website is one of the easiest ways to elevate your business, your personal brand, or just your online presence. And this makes it easier than I have ever seen before. Plus, no joke, just being able to be sponsored by GoDaddy, this is a company I genuinely used for 2 decades now. They're one of the oldest companies that I've been using myself. I've loved them. They've been fantastic. So their link is down below, QR code on the screen. Thank you so much. Now let's get back to the video.
So I just switched from ChatGPT to Claude, as I'm sure many of you have.
I can't lie, Claude is a game changer, man. Like, that ChatGPT stuff, that's in the past.
As someone who literally went viral for teaching people how to study with ChatGPT, I fear I might be switching over to Claude because she is that girl.
Now here's the thing, I pay for them all. I use them all. I spend a stupid amount of money on all of them. I have ChatGPT, I have Claude, I have Gemini, I have Grok. And all four I kind of use for different purposes, which is really interesting. I think Claude is definitely the most high level. It's the smartest, but I also pay like $100 a month for the thing. Grok, I would say, is overall pretty good, but still gets some errors every now and then. Gemini I use a little less often. It's pretty good for fast-paced work. And ChatGPT, I would say, a lot of errors, but it's also the most diverse. Like, you could do a lot with ChatGPT. It's quick. It's not quite there. It is really good for some sort of creative writing. I've noticed it has good memory when it comes to that, but everyone's using it differently. It's like saying, you go for YouTube and Instagram for different things, or like you watch YouTube and TikTok for like different content. You have this email that you use for this and this email for this. So I don't know if it's going to be something where people only go to one platform, like everyone Google searched for a while. I don't know if it's going to be like that. It might just be like TV stations. We have Fox, you have CNBC, you have NBC, you have TNT. Remember that show? You have Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, MTV. You have these different things that you use for different purposes. It might be like that with AI.
So even after spending $6 billion on sales and marketing, they couldn't convince their users to upgrade to the $20 paid version. It's almost as if people don't find it that valuable, which is even more concerning when you consider that $20 a month isn't anywhere near what these AI companies need to charge to be profitable. So if users aren't willing to pay, who is?
The problem is that the free version is like so advanced for the average person who's never seen it before that they're like, why do I need to pay for anything more than, like, this is magic to me. What is going on my computer right now? This is crazy, and it's free. So, upcharging that, you really have to be a big user of it. I'm a big user of it. I love using it all the time. But for the average person who's just gonna talk to it about cooking chicken, there's only so much you could do. You're not gonna pay for that.
So let me get this straight. Users don't want to pay $20 a month. Enterprise companies are not seeing a return. Meta and xAI, who are supposedly leaders in AI, and yet they don't even have a use case for all these data centers they've been building, so they're leasing them to their competitors. And the cherry on top is that costs have exploded. OpenAI, Anthropic, Microsoft, they've all moved away from a flat rate subscription model to a usage-based billing for their enterprise customers.
Here's my concern, is that eventually things get so efficient that we don't need all these big data centers. Like, look at big screen TVs back in the 90s. Those things were massive. They're big, bulky TVs. We don't need those anymore. Like, the technology got so good that the price came down 90%, and now the TV is thin. It's like, it's like an iPhone, but it's a TV on the wall. I worry AI, infrastructure, compute, is just going to get so good that it could fit in like a cup like this. And then what do you need all the data centers for? Now, that could be magic. That could be just wishful thinking. That might not even be possible. I don't even know what I'm talking about, okay? I'm clueless. But I'm just saying, just what if pigs could fly and this happens, and then we're left with all this expense, all these obligations, all this building and land that, what do you do with it?
But the result is companies are now avoiding American AI models and opting instead for Chinese models like GLM, DeepSeek, and Kimi, which are either free or very cheap. Chinese models grew from about 1% of token usage on OpenRouter in late 2024 to over 60% by early 2026, surpassing US models for the first time. But it gets worse. It's not just users who are moving away from ChatGPT, it's OpenAI's own partners.
This is why we're in a race with China for AI and why the US is going to pump a whole bunch of money into the system, because who gets the data? Where does it go? Who learns from this? Who's going to be the leader in AI? Could argue the leader of AI is going to be the leader of the economy when that eventually we get there. And if it's not us, who is it?
The analysts found that AI firms are more deeply entrenched in the US economy than their dot-com predecessors. A downturn in the AI market would send shockwaves throughout the entire economic ecosystem. It's our tax dollars partially funding these AI data centers. It's our electricity bills increasing to power them. When this AI bubble bursts, all the wealthy people sitting in that room will be just fine. In fact, they'll buy up more houses when everything crashes.
You could argue, though, the housing market is not going to be affected by this. I don't think if AI craters, the housing market will see a proportional drop. Not even close to that. I don't really see the relation between AI and housing, except, here's the only relation, is just if the stock market's doing well, some of that money, some of that valuation flows over to housing. And when stocks drop, there's just less available capital to buy the houses. So you could argue that there's less demand. I would argue that's great for buyers. It's great for everyday people. I don't think billionaires are going to be out there buying up these like $300,000 to $500,000 single family homes.
But OpenAI wanting public funds really shouldn't come as a surprise. Last year, Sarah Fryer, the CFO, made comments about a federal backstop, meaning the government would pay for OpenAI's debts if OpenAI couldn't. She later walked those comments back, but fast forward to this month, we learned that OpenAI has offered the US government a 5% stake in the company.
Of course they're going to end up taking it. They're going to get a bailout. They're always going to get a bailout. They're too big to fail already. Because if this goes down, the problem is that then your competitor wins. And who's the competitor? It's China. We're in a race with China for AI. We want the best AI. We want all the data. We want the singularity, so to speak. And so if ours fail, theirs 100% is going to win because they're able to do these things so advanced, much cheaper. They have an abundance of land and resources and just ways to build things for a fraction of the cost that we can here. They have a lot of advantages over there. And so for that purpose, the government's going to probably overtake them like they did with Fannie and Freddie Mac. You know, the lenders, they get in over their head. The government just takes control over them, absorbs them, regulates them, and now the government owns it, okay? That's probably what's going to end up happening if it goes bad.
The only reason big tech is investing in this is that they've run out of hypergrowth ideas. They don't have a next iPhone. They don't have a new Google search. So they've put over $1 trillion with trillions more to come into a kind of a dead-end industry because when that ends, they'll have to admit that they don't have anything else.
This guy is a sourpuss. I don't believe that at all. There are so many ways to monetize. I believe that AI, these models, whatever it is going to be integrated everywhere. Everywhere. It's going to be in your phone, your computer. It's going to be in your car. Whatever you need done, it's going to be doing your emails for you. It's going to be ads. You're going to be able to type in, hey, where do I watch the best YouTube videos? And like, I could pay for an ad in the middle. Oh, watch Graham Stephan, and here's like a little subscribe thing. And then your affiliate commissions. Oh my gosh, imagine the affiliates it could get. Someone selling like a water bottle, and it just gets thrown in ChatGPT and they get an affiliate on that. Ugh, so many ways to monetize this that I think this guy's not taken into consideration. So with that said, you let me know what you think down below in the comment section. And speaking of AI, by the way, if you want to build that website, check out GoDaddy, our sponsor, down below in the description. I highly recommend it. You may as well have a website if you haven't done that already. I went through the whole thing. They make it really easy. So I highly recommend them. Link down below, and I've used them now for like 20 years, which is crazy. So enjoy. Thank you so much. Until next time.